A father shot in cold blood, a custody battle turned deadly. And now, 10 years later, was the grandmother pulling the strings? Before Donna Adelson stands trial for murder next month, we'll use our real law enforcement experience to unpack the 911 call.
Somebody tried to shoot him.
The police interrogation, the FBI tactics, and the family secrets that may have cost Dan Markel his life. All that and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center. Wake up, America. It's the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. It's a TV show on the internet about two best friends who are called by a small town sheriff to investigate when a Soviet number station causes his pacemaker to go off. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. I've been doing that in my community for 10 years. Joining me, as always, is my podcasting partner with police benefits, Drew Breezy. Fake name, authentic cop. Drew, we're about to get into the Donna Adelson trial. It's coming up this month. This case is about Dan Markel. Back in 2014, Markel was a Florida state law professor. He worked in Tallahassee, lived there, and he was found in his garage. He was shot. What eventually unraveled was a complex murder for hire plot. The motive was a bitter custody battle between he and his wife, Wendy, who wanted to move away with the kids down to South Florida, leaving Tallahassee behind. Markel, of course, had filed some motions against her that was causing some serious animosity in the family. Also, his mother-in-law, Donna Adelson, who's coming up for trial in August, he had some problems with her. This case involves some interesting figures. Like I said, his wife, Wendy, has never been charged with any part of the conspiracy to kill Dan. Donna's being charged with parts of that. But other people have already been convicted. Charlie Adelson. That was his former brother-in-law. He's been already convicted and sentenced to life plus like 60 years in prison for orchestrating the conspiracy to kill Dan. His woman that he was seeing at the time, Catherine
Magbanua,
thank you. She acted as an intermediary. So she was Charlie's girlfriend, and the father of her children was a hitman. We were talking about Sigfredo Garcia. He was the shooter. He went in there thinking that he was going to take out Dan in order to rescue some kids and get them back with their mom. And he roped in his lifelong childhood friend, Luis Rivera, who was sort of the getaway driver. All of these other people have all been charged. So the only people left remaining are Wendy, the ex-wife, who you'd think would have been the first person to go down, and Donna, who, of course, upon conviction of her son, Charlie, tried to flee to Vietnam. We'll get into that at the end of the show.
Every good true crime story starts with a 911 call. This case is no exception. There are two 911 calls. We're going to give you like a 10,000 foot view today. We can give you all of our insight on police response and 911 calls based on what we know from the case. And let's hit it.
911, what's the address of your emergency case then? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard and looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry, an EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Go ahead, but send them as you're asking.
Yes, sir. They're already on the way. Okay. Are you with him now?
I'm standing right outside the garage door.
Can you tell me how old he is?
I don't know. He looks like maybe 35 or 40.
Hang on 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. I apologize about that. What was the, how old is the patient again? I'm sorry.
I can't tell. He looks maybe 35 or 40. I don't know.
Okay. And is he awake?
He's just moving his head around, but he's not responding. I've called his name, asked what's going on, or not called his name, but asked him what's happening. He's not responding to that, but his head's kind of rolling around.
Okay, is he conscious?
Well, I can't tell.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I can't tell that. I'm assuming he's breathing if he's moving his head around.
Did you ever hear him talk or anything?
No.
Okay. You said he's sitting in the car, right?
Correct, in the driver's seat.
Okay, where
Driver's
exactly is he? In the driver's seat? You know,
In the driver's seat.
is he in the garage or?
In the garage.
Okay. Can you direct the emergency crews to him, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Just stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, see if he is conscious and breathing or moving at all, okay?
It's not safe for me to do. I don't want to put my hand in here.
Okay. Well, help's on the way.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
be standing by. And I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening. And then I saw the window was shattered, and he's got blood. I'm going to be over here waiting for the EMT, honey. Okay, go ahead, but just tell the kids to hold on inside. They're okay. So tell them I'm out here.
All right, just stay on the line with me for now, okay, sir?
Okay,
I got him on the way to you.
Very good. I'm standing at the street, so if I see him coming down the street, I can direct him right in.
So he won't respond to you at all?
Not to me.
Holler at him or anything?
Yeah, he didn't respond, but his head kind of moving around.
Okay.
But I've walked away from the car right now. I'm standing at the street, so.
And he's...
No.
Okay.
He's inside. The window's shattered. The garage door was up.
Okay.
Where is the vehicle dispatched from?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I'll try to see where they are, okay? Is he still moving around?
I don't know. I'm standing at the street now trying to wait for your vehicle. Did you say you were checking on where it was?
Yes, sir.
Or where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Got several people on the way. Looks like one person's coming from McClay Road.
Okay, well, it may take them a while to get here then. We're close to the hospital, so.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying his head is bloody now?
Yeah, it's been bloody. I mean, it's...
Okay.
The window shattered. I don't know if he's tried to shoot himself. I don't know what the situation is.
And it's the driver's side window, correct?
That's correct. He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Okay. Looks like I should have an officer coming up the roadway.
Okay, well, we need EMT.
Well, the officer's going to be there first. They're not going to come until we figure out what's going on, but they're on the way as well, okay?
He better be if this guy's got a shot living.
Yes, sir. They're on the way as well, okay?
Yep. It looks like could be the officer now.
See there?
Yeah, he's just coming up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, sir, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
John, what qualifies you to be able to judge this 911 call taker's response?
I have handled calls similar to this every day for 10 years. I don't handle gunshot wounds to the head very often. I have handled a call like that before, and actually, in my case, the patient did survive. Actually, I recognize the protocol he's using, the call-taking protocol. He's asking questions. Is the patient conscious? Is he alert? Is he breathing? Is he talking to you? He's locked into a question and answer algorithm to try to determine what's wrong. If you remember at the start of the call, the caller says he's been shot, and you can hear the keyboard going. The dispatcher, the call taker, is putting in certain initial survey things. What's the location? What's the chief complaint? He missed the part where the guy says he's been shot. He picked it up later at some other point, and he didn't say, "Oh my gosh, he's been shot." He didn't say that because he didn't want to admit that he missed something while on the call. And it changes the response. Like he said, the police officer has to go first to make sure there's still not an armed assailant in the area. But if you miss that detail, that the guy's been shot, he's gone into an unconscious fainting protocol, which is a lower priority than a gunshot. He's trying to figure out what it is. He says, is he in the garage? As a dispatcher, you're kind of doing true crime in real time. You're getting these details and you're trying to put together the case by questioning someone over the phone. And if you miss the detail about the gunshot, what you initially get is like, did this guy try to commit suicide in his garage? Well, no, he's got trauma. Maybe he was in a car accident and he got all the way home. A lot of car accidents do happen close to home. And Maybe he fainted once he got inside, or, you're trying to, is it possible this is a domestic thing? You're trying to figure out what it is. You missed the gunshot. You miss a lot of critical details there. Hey, before you do anything else, make sure you're doing all those YouTube things. Hit like, hit subscribe, and there's a good chance that we said something by now that was inaccurate or pissed you off. So go ahead and leave a comment below and we'll get back to you. Drew? Let's go to the criminal conspiracy, Drew.
I think we should.
Okay, so is this the view you had from your window looking out toward Mr. Markel's drive?
Yes, that's correct.
And you say you saw a vehicle backing up out of his driveway?
Yes.
If that voice sounds familiar, that is the old man 911 caller, the very wholesome gentleman, Mr. Geiger.
What type of vehicle was it?
Well, I caught it out of the corner of my eye, so it was not, I didn't look at it real hard, but it looked like a Prius to me. Looked like a silver or white colored Prius.
Anything about the way it backed out? Did it do that normally? Or
So just went very quickly, and that's what caught my attention.
all right, which way did it go after it backed out of the drive there?
As it backed out of the driveway, it headed to the right, which was towards Benton Road.
All right, were you able to see the occupants of the vehicle?
No, I couldn't see any inside. As I said, I was concerned that we had heard that had been some burglaries in the area, and so I thought that I would walk next door to see if that might have been what happened. And as I approached Danny's house, I noticed that the garage door was up, and his car was in the garage, and it was running. And so I stopped then almost as I got to the garage, and I thought, well, so much for a burglary. If he's getting ready to leave, it wasn't anything like that, and so there must not be a problem. And I turned around and went back to my house at that point.
All right, what about once you got back inside the house? Did you do anything else?
Yeah, I as I got back in, I kind of stood right at this window, and why, I'm not sure, but I just thought I would stand there for a minute or two and wait for him to go ahead and back out and leave. And after maybe 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, he hadn't backed out yet. And I said to my wife, I said, something seems wrong to me. I don't know what it is. Danny hadn't left yet. I think I'm going to walk back over there and check things out. And so that's what I did, was to walk back over again.
What happened when you got over there?
Well, as I got back over, the garage door was still up. The car was still in the garage. It was still running. And I thought perhaps then that maybe he was on a phone and was simply staying there while he had his phone conversation. But again, I just wasn't quite sure. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to walk on into the garage and make sure everything's okay. And
Mr.
that's
Geiger,
what I did.
in the 5 years or so that you'd lived next door to Mr. Markel, had you ever had an occasion to go over there and check on him before?
All right, I want to give some context to this before we get any further, because there's a very significant body language moment coming up. I even marked it. This you're seeing on your screen is a guy named Charlie Adelson. They not only caught the 2 murderers and the intermediary, they convicted this guy right here, the brother of the brother-in-law, essentially, of the victim.
He looks like he knows he's about to get convicted.
Well, he does, and I like, there's something that this guy says that I think dumped a whole bucket of reality on him, because he was detached from the murder itself. He was detached in the sense that all he did was provide payment for it. He wasn't there when it happened. But then there are some other things that he probably didn't think about that I think he's about to think about, if you ask me.
No.
So he probably sat in his driveway talking on the phone before, right?
He may have. I don't know. He was in the garage this time. I wouldn't have known if he was there or not.
All right, but for whatever reason, the hairs on the back of your neck stood up this time.
I don't know that they stood up, but there was just something that said I need to check it out.
All right, so what happened when you got over there?
Well, as I said, I decided I'd walk on into the garage. I felt a little awkward doing that, but I walked on in, and I looked at the driver's side window, and it was busted out, And at that point, I recalled stepping on glass. And as I looked in, then I could see a man's head that he was bloody, and he was looking through. Part of the glass was still there from the driver's side window, but part of it was blown out. And I looked inside, and I saw a head. It was bloody, and it was moving back and forth slowly.
And was it Mr. Markel inside the car?
Yeah, and I said, "Danny, what happened?" And there was no response, just that slow moving back and forth. And I hollered out again, Danny, what happened?" And there was still nothing. And at that point, I knew he needed help, and I had to call 911.
So check out his body language here.
So we didn't see him a whole lot.
All right, but he was living there and had the boys sometimes.
Yes,
All right, at the time that this happened.
correct.
Okay, were the children there with him when he was injured in this way?
Not that I'm aware of.
So you didn't see the children then?
No.
All right. So you go back and get your phone and call 911. Is that
Correct.
right? Okay. Have you had an opportunity to review the 911 call in this case previously?
I have.
All right, and is that your voice on the call that we played previously?
Yes, it is.
All right, Judge, at this time.
He's lost in the thought when he makes the shocking realization that the boys could have been there and the boys could have been hurt, or even that the boys would have seen and they would have been damaged for the rest of their lives. Like, I don't think he thought of that when it was going down. Maybe he did. I don't know. Because there was a surveillance element to this. There was they made sure that he had dropped the kids off at school, at preschool, and then he went to the gym. They followed him to the gym. Then they followed him home from the gym. But just watch Charlie Adelson's kind of response.
There and had the boys sometimes.
Yes,
All right, at the time that this happened.
correct.
Okay. Were the children there with him when he was injured in this way?
Not that I'm aware of.
So you didn't see the children then?
No.
All right.
It's just kind of like oh Jesus, I didn't even think about that. Like, well, what would have happened? Like, it's just what am I
He's
doing?
picturing it right now. He says,
Yeah.
"Shit, damn it, I didn't think about that."
Yeah, I mean, that's the impression I got.
10:48, he calls me.
All right, so to set this up, to give context here, I told you every good true crime story starts with a 911 call. That was the older gentleman that witnessed the Prius. Then we have this gentleman who was literally on the phone with the guy, with the victim, when this happened. I don't have his 911 phone call. I have his police interview right here, which we're about to watch, and it's just something to think about. Like, this guy was this victim was just like going about his day. He was having a conversation with a music teacher about the music program that he worked at, and that perhaps he was going to get his children into, or something to that effect.
Okay. I guess that's what the green happened. So you talked to him you're on the phone until 11 minutes and 39 seconds with him? Yeah. Okay. In the last few minutes, we're trying to figure out what was going on at the situation. It sounded like he stopped. The extra noise wasn't really there. And he said, hold on a second. There's someone in my driveway that's unfamiliar to me. I'm pretty sure that's the words he used. And he said, sure, no problem. And he I guess, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he opened the door, got out of his car. I tried to just wait till he said, hey, you back? Or I'm back, And that never happened. I remember 3 events after that point. A loud sound, which sounded either like a grunt or something. It sounded like a person making the sound, but it didn't sound like a good sound. So my mind immediately went to like heart attack. But I think this guy's pretty young. So I stayed on the line instead of calling, an ambulance right away. And then there was a lot of sounds that I couldn't make out. Either that the phone had broken, I thought. Yeah, maybe it fell out of his pocket while he was talking to this person. I don't know. Lots of sounds. Couldn't make out the words. But there was definitely voices. Could have been the radio. I don't know. I don't know if he was near his car or he had already walked away from it. And then the third sound was heavy breathing, labored breathing. You know, and I listened and I thought, this could be a heart attack. Or, I don't have a lot of experience with these things, heart attacks or anything. But it didn't sound good. And then I started saying, are you okay? Maybe 3 or 4 times. Can I help you? Just different things. And then I decided to hang up.
And then this is where you try to call him back right at 11.
Right. So, he said there's an unfamiliar person in my driveway. I called back again. It went to voicemail. Texted him, thinking, oh, maybe something happened to his speaker because I couldn't. But then the labored breathing was very clear, like the phone was like right here or right here. Just very clear, no question about what it was. Texted him, are you okay? No response. So I went to look up his address because it sounded like he just got home at his driveway. So I went on the Leon County property appraisers, typed in his name, found his address, and called the police. I said, I was talking to a friend of a friend I don't really know well. It seems like something happened. He said that there's an unfamiliar man in his driveway.
Did he recall he said man? Or
No, he did say person. He just said
John, what stands out about, so you're the 911 call taker in this scenario, and this guy calls you. What stands out about his call?
I'll tell you, if I'm taking this call, it won't mean much to me. He's explaining right now in great detail everything that he heard to this detective, everything that he felt about it. In many ways, he's acting like a 911 dispatcher himself. He's faced an unknown situation. He has no context. He's having to do investigation on his own. Is he at home? He sounded like he just got at home. Did he say man or did he say person? And then he's even going so far as to using a resource to figure out where this guy lives because the guy's no longer responsive to questions. So it's funny how the dispatcher, missed something and we're blaming him for it, but this guy's, trying to put things together in the same way. But if someone calls me and says, I was on the phone with someone and it seems like something bad happened to them and you don't know what it is, I don't really know what to do with that. It could be something, it could be nothing. And the thing is most of the time it's nothing. Phones do get dropped, phones do get broken, phones get dropped off of jet skis, motorcycles, and you don't know it's not always something sinister.
2025, we now get phone calls when people drop their iPhones or their Apple Watches and stuff. I mean, there's an automatic trigger to call 911. So you never know. You never really know. But sometimes when these phone calls come in, like it's to me, like I spent time as a 911 dispatcher as well. But to me, like when the call comes in, you start asking questions of this guy and you're just like, like it's a pretty low percentage of anything really happened, but I'm going to send somebody out there.
Yeah.
And you'll learn in a second that they actually revealed to him, yeah, somebody else has already called. And there's been
Right. The way that happens is he's looked up from this real estate website. He's looked up the address, and then a 911 dispatcher will look at the call for service that all gets managed on a computer and says, oh, we already have a call for service in progress at that address. Or if he doesn't notice it, he types it in. The computer usually will catch that and say, are you sure this isn't a duplicate call? Because there's already one in progress here. And, sometimes you can have multiple incidents happening at the same house of two halves of a domestic dispute or dialing 911 or whatever.
Sure.
And that's one crucial thing about 911 dispatchers is that we can take two calls like this with two really, really different reports, right? One reporting head trauma and another one reporting suspicion activity. You put those two things together, and now you're gathering clues for a murder case.
Yeah, it's just like it starts building the case right then. Like it just starts building the mystery. I can feel it in the from the chair, like from the 911 call taker's perspective. You're like, ooh, ooh, there's already a call there. This is not good.
once you get 2 calls and you start getting, because one adds context for the other, right? Like, we already heard about the trauma that's happening, so when he talks about the suspicion that's going on, if we had just played this call and you didn't know it was in reference to a murder, you wouldn't necessarily make anything of it, but if you had already known that someone had sustained a grievous injury, and then this is about that, it adds a lot of context to it.
I want to go back for a second, too, because there might be some thoughts of, well, the old man saw a Prius and he told them. I don't know I don't remember if he said it in the 911 call. That 911 call, by the way, was 19 minutes long. I think our version is 4 minutes. I used a media's a version of it, and it's been edited, both by them and by us, for brevity purposes. But I don't remember if I know he talked about burglaries on the 911 call, but I don't remember if he talked about the Prius that left the area. And I just want to be clear, like, sometimes that really doesn't mean a whole lot. Like, when he sees a Prius leading, sometimes it's just completely coincidental, and the officer is trying to get there to render aid. If you happen to find, because I'm telling you right now, this has happened to me. I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing. When I got a vehicle description and I'm seeing it on the midnight shift fleeing in the opposite direction I'm coming, and I'm like, that's probably it. So let me turn around and get to it. Wait a minute. Let me make sure that the people are okay first. And I could always, radio. And that's essentially what happened. In my case, I went to the scene. I determined there actually was a burglary. There was a representation of the color of the vehicle. What they said over the 911 line and what the dispatcher put in were two different things, and it wasn't the dispatcher's fault, actually, because it didn't match what I saw either. It was a purple Saturn, of all things, and they called it a red Saturn or maroon Saturn or something like that. So I just immediately got on the radio and said, this is where I last saw it, and sure enough, another deputy sheriff was astute enough to see it going, like, probably 2 or 3 miles away, and luckily the traffic was low at that night. And it just happened to be, the vehicle. But the odds of that happening are like 1,000,000 to 1. And so when he says he saw a Prius leaving, it doesn't necessarily mean that he saw suspects leaving in a Prius. It means that he saw a Prius leaving. And that definitely, like I said, gave way for the investigation, for the latent investigation to go forward. But may not have helped a whole lot for the responding officers, unless there were 2 or 3 of them, because somebody's got to get there and know exactly what's happening first. Like, that's the only way. That's the ticket to getting EMS in there. That's the true definition of first responder. Like, you're the first responder. You got to, give the aid and all that other stuff. So I just wanted to clear.
Familiar person at, my recollection. The address is 21 something Trescott.
And you do that by looking up on property appraisers.
Right. Does a reverse lookup. I can look at the address. And I thought that was the best, tactic to get his address real quick. He was the only Dan with Markel too, so it really helps. He said on the phone that someone else has already called. I said, oh, good. I hope everything's okay. He said some sort of accident happened. And he said, but thanks for calling as a second call. We'll make sure someone gets out there or someone's already out there.
Markel had been married to another eminent lawyer, Wendy Jill Adelson.
So we're going to get into where the conspiracy is headed and where the conspiracy is born. That guy, though, John, pretty sharp for a citizen just making a phone call, don't you think?
Okay, I think so. He did a good job. If you're ever in that situation, it doesn't hurt to call us. The worst thing that could happen is we send a cop out and it's nothing.
Right. But looked the address up and stuck with it, and like, he just knew something was off. And I always find it like, these are the hindsight things that we see when we're trying to put a story together or whatever, trying to tell the story. But both the older gentleman from next door and this guy had the hair on the back of their neck standing up. Like even the older guy was like, nah, I don't know if it was the hair standing up, but I definitely felt something was off. And this guy was like, what was on the phone here was definitely off. And they both made this is the argument for see something, say something. Like if something seems off, and I want to say this to the responders and to the dispatchers and everybody alike that are listening to this also. If something feels weird, if you feel that response on the back of your neck, the hair on the back of your neck or whatever, and your hackles are up, pay attention to that. There's a reason for that. Your body is telling you something. And this is totally a better safe than sorry. I would rather live to suffer the ridicule of thinking, calling for a backup because you heard a sound or whatever, than to know that, they're telling the story at my funeral, So pay attention to those kind of instincts. John, we're going to move into the kind of the next phase. This is just a quick setup of where the case led from an investigative standpoint.
Together, they had those 2 boys, but their love soured, turning into an ugly divorce with squabbles over child custody. Friends telling us Markel described the day she left him as his Pearl Harbor. Adelson said through her lawyer that she is just devastated and scared to death. Police tell ABC News they questioned his ex-wife. Sources say it lasted for hours. But police say they questioned many who knew him.
Oh boy, do we have a lot to tell you. So this is kind of where it picks up. This is the 911 portion is kind of over. This is police. It affected the police response and the emergency medical response. The police response was that they ended up interviewing the neighbor. The neighbor saw the Prius, and it took off from there. The Prius wasn't that significant, I don't think, until they identified the potential conspiracy.
Right. That was something that they ended up coming back to tying it all together later. It was sort of the smoking gun. Once you figure out the reason why Dan would have been shot, and you work it backwards to who he knows and why they would have a motive to do it and who their connections are, and you start checking into what they've been up to and what their alibis are and where they've been spending their money at rental car agencies in South Florida. That's how it all eventually ties everyone together in a big bow.
So there are 4, and by the way, that's probably an 8-hour drive from South Florida, Miami area to town.
The way you do it, it would be 6.
Yeah, well, in a Prius, it might be less.
That's true.
But so just like the 10,000-foot view will tell you that there have been 4 convictions in this case already. The 2, quote, hitmen. The girlfriend of Charlie Adelson, her name is Katie Magbanua, and she is also the mother of the children of one of the hitmen. So that was the go-between. And this isn't spoiler alert. People already know about this case and everything, but we'll get into great detail in subsequent things. And then Charlie Adelson was convicted. Shouldn't be any shock. He was convicted of murder. That was the guy you saw that was on trial when the people were testifying. And now we have Donna, who was arrested at Miami Airport, or an airport in South Florida anyway. The day after her son was convicted of murder, she was on on the jetway, getting ready to get on a flight to Vietnam with a one-way ticket with her husband. And I don't know why we shouldn't think that's suspicious at all. But it just so happens that Vietnam does not have an extradition agreement with the United States. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they just really enjoyed denying. I don't know.
Folks, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you're checking out all of our other episodes. You can see it right here on the channel. Also, make sure you're checking us out on social media. Just pick out your favorite and find us there. Drew, as always, it's been a pleasure.
It's been average for me.